How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Jose, aka TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka your Elden Lord. Even during a cataclysmic and nonsensical natural disaster, still your Elden Lord. I got your back, even during that. Aka the guy who's wishing you all a happy Friday, happy start to the weekend, because mine was not a happy start, because I started my Friday by watching the piece of shit that is Rings of Power Episode 6, Udun. And boy, oh boy, this might be the worst episode so far. In fact, I think it has to be. It has to be, because there is so much garbage happening on screen. Okay, you can barely keep up with the trash being thrown at your eyeballs. They fucking don't stop. But this is so far for me the worst episode, and I want to tell you why, because I want to fully explain why it's so horrendous. Okay, the other episodes, because the other episodes were bad. They, terrible for a slew of other reasons: bad dialogue, bootleg versions of established characters, plot lines that make no sense and often contradict themselves, especially the fucking Elven storyline that they started to throw in with the Mithril, compressing several thousands of years into a single span of what, I don't know, it's been like 2 weeks, because this show doesn't know how to tell time either. Not in a natural way, the way that House of the Dragons has done so far. I mean, for fuck's sake, House of Dragons spend 12 years already, 12, maybe 13 plus years, and it feels natural. Not this, but the list of reasons why could be eternal. But those other episodes, at least with those other episodes, nothing has been happening, right? It's been the main complaint, is that this show is boring, is lifeless, the wheels are spinning, and nothing on screen draws you in. Those are all bad things. But this one is supposed to be the action episode. Okay, and the episode where we get to see the conflict between Adar's orcs and the humans of the Southlands. So those episodes were boring because nothing was happening, and those episodes were terrible because nothing's happening. This is even more so because there's stuff happening, and so there's more fucking terrible shit happening to offend you. Okay, this is one of the worst battle sequences I've ever had the displeasure of laying my eyes on. I cannot. We're going to get into this episode. There will be spoilers. I'm going to be bringing up the video and showing you some clips if I can, because it was bad. Just saying it like that is just an understatement. This is, and this is also one of the reasons why I think this is the worst, because the people out there that might be enjoying this show will point to this episode and be like, oh, look, there was action. There's no way you could say it's boring or that this is bad, right? And they'll use it to justify their views on this show. Look, I don't care if you're liking the show. I can't account for your bad taste. I can't. And I've said it before. I have my own guilty pleasures, like True Blood. It's awful television, and I love to watch them. But I recognize them for their shit storytelling that they are, and I indulge in it. The ones who sit there and try to defend the piles of shit, the ones who know and understand how much of a defilement of lore this is, how far from Tolkien's works this show has become. This is an insult to the man's legacy. Those of you who sit there and defend that's what I have a fucking problem with. And this clusterfuck of an episode will give those sycophants a reason to be like, they gave us a really cool action episode. Like, dude, this was not good. Just because things are moving, things are happening, that's not enough to say it's good. It's the things that are happening have to be actual quality. You can't just have two fucking pieces. I got a Robitussin bottle here. I can't just move this across the screen and say, oh, that's enough to make the fucking episode good. When you're like, well, why is the bottle moving? Why is it moving in such a weird way? It's like the Battle of Winterfell, okay? That battle was terrible. The whole episode sucked. The lighting was, not just because it was shot in the dark, because you could barely see the fight. It made no sense. The strategy was, who the fuck thought up the strategy for the Battle of Winterfell? Who thought that? And then the way the combat ended up boiling up, it was just a ball of fucking corpses running towards them. And then inside, you had Sam surrounded by the dead, and he's just dying. Nobody dies. Nobody major dies. Nobody dies. You have enemies pressed. You have Jaime and Brienne pressed up against the wall to death, and not a single person shanks them. That was a terrible battle. And just because things are happening on screen doesn't just automatically make it good. And that's what this was. Okay? Bodies crashing into each other in a pathetic attempt to depict the conflict is not enough to make me go, ooh, wow. Because it needs to actually be good in the first place. Okay? So again, spoilers. We're gonna go into some of the episode. I will show, little pieces of it where I can, or I'll explain to you what's going on. This is pretty early on in the episode. This is, I want to say, let me take off the X-ray because that pops up. This is about 4 minutes and 55 seconds in. Adar is basically rallying the orcs. Okay, he is rallying the orcs. He's telling them, and that's a great line to end right there. He's telling them that, they are not going to be slaves. They're going to have their own home. And this is one of the many, many complaints that we have with this show. Adar, these orcs, the show is so desperately trying to be like, hey, man, hey, look, there's shades of gray here. Isn't he a sympathetic villain? Because all he wants to do is give, his kind a home. Look, there's a time and a place for a three-dimensional, fleshed-out villain with layers like Homelander from The Boys. This is not one of them, especially not with orcs. They are not meant to be a redeemable race. They are monsters. They are evil. They are twisted creatures that Morgoth created from the torturing and defiling of elves, just like trolls were a failed copy of Ents. Okay? Just like this show is a fucking failed copy of Tolkien's works. The fact that we are rooting for the orcs, the fact that people are rooting for the orcs is not because we give a fuck about their plight. It's because, we don't give a fuck about them having equality, because that's what you're pushing in this show now. We're rooting for them because we hate the fucking good guys and we hate this show and we want it to end. All right? That's the only reason why people are like, oh man, I hope the orcs win. Because it's so fucking bad. Okay? And now the orcs show up and they get to the tower where all the humans are, right? This long line of fucking orcs. And Adar leads them to the fort to deal with the humans and the elf, and they find it empty. And it's empty because the elf has made a trap, right? He lights up his arrow. And I got to talk through some of this because, I made sure to mute it, but you know how listen, Amazon right now is like, they're ready to fucking hammer down because they know that the truth is being revealed, that their ratings are terrible. People aren't tuning into this show, and even the media show sites are fucking coming out and shitting on it now. So, I may be a tiny channel, I may be nobody, but they'll still come in there and be like, got your ass, shut up. Don't talk shit about our show. We know it's shit, but don't talk shit about it. So I got to talk through some of it. But anyway, the elf fires an arrow, okay? And I got to also, before I go into this real quick, I'm going to show, he shoots the arrow. He hits this one spot, right? Okay. I want to say something before I show you the results of this. The orcs didn't see the humans fucking leave. Like they didn't think to keep an eye on their movements at all. You would think if they're laying siege to all these humans, they could spare a single scout for reconnaissance, right? You would think they could spare a single guy to just be like, yo, Gramash, whatever fuck your name is, go sit over there and watch them. And if they fucking do anything, you come and tell us. Nope. They just fall into the elf's trap. They couldn't spare a single scout for some reconnaissance. And it's not like the orcs can't be. So I know in this stupid show, they're showing the orcs like they can't stand in the sun. Orcs can be in the fucking daylight. They're not fucking vampires. They don't want to be. They prefer not to be. It's uncomfortable. It's painful for them in the sense that, they're like constantly squinting, but they don't fucking burn. All right. And even in the show where they've established that apparently they do bubble and burn, they have cloaks. Get like 5 of your dudes in cloaks. So you have enough orcs do that. Have some of the humans now that are on your side scout as well. Hey, there you go. Have some of the humans that you've convinced to join you or that came to pledge their fealty to you, watch the other group of humans. Anyway, they fall into the elf's trap, okay? They fall into his fucking trap. And he lights this thing on fire. This one fucking thing. Look at this. The tower begins to fall apart. I fucking can't with this. Like, this fucking tower is the most structurally unsound tower I've ever seen. It fell apart like they pulled a bad block out of a fucking Jenga tower. Okay? Like this, look at this. It fucking crumbles, and then he goes and he kicks the door so that they can't escape. Like, he kicks a brick and this thing pulls this, closes the door, and it causes a fucking landslide that like blankets out. Oh, look at that right there. All these orcs, they couldn't spare a single person to keep an eye on the fucking humans. Couldn't spare a single person. But look at all this fucking landslide. What the fuck, dude? Whatever. The elf buys them time to prepare their defenses. He has given them some time to the humans are going to fall back to the village. Okay, they're going to fall back to the village, and they will be able to make their last stand there because they realize that they can't make their last stand in the tower, which, hey, at least says that, right? You know, that they realize, yo, we can't make our last stand in this clearly indefensible spot. So we jump forward. We go now to the forces of Numenor. Forces of Numenor, which have activated, let me tell you guys, they've activated their hyperspeed sails, okay? Because they're fucking booking it to Middle Earth. And if you go within the logic of this show, or the lack thereof in this show, these ships have to be magical, right? Are the ships magical? Because, I mean, not only are these ships super tiny, yet they have holds in them that function like bags of holding that can store hundreds of soldiers and hundreds of horses. Fucking supplies for them. And they also go fucking super fast. Okay? And so do the horses eventually. You'll see that. So Isildur, hold on. Isildur has this scene with Galadriel. And Galadriel's like, oh, you woke up? And he's like, yeah, I'm awake. I wanted to see land, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, we're almost there. And it's just, Isildur's such a fucking, he's such a fucking waste of space. These two are both fucking waste of space. Bootleg Galadriel and bootleg Isildur. The only line of note here is the line here that she's asking him about Numenor. And this is the only line I was like, I have to play this one, right? Again, I can't play any volume, but she asks him about Numenor, and he goes, it's not Numenor. Not the real Numenor anyway. Boy, oh boy, let me tell you, Isildur, you are fucking right. This is not the real fucking Numenor, because this show has not portrayed them at all. Some of the comments from my last episode review of this, you guys tore into this, and you all know the lore far more than I do. And because I haven't read all of the side, the appendices and the Silmarillion and all that stuff, but I over the years peeked in and I can tell you that this is not Numenor. This is not the men of Numenor. This is, and I want to show you this little shot right here, because look how cheap this fucking show is. Look how cheap the show is. Look how bad this fucking armor is. Look how fucking bad that armor is. So, but this is not Numenor, because Numenor is supposed to be the peak of man. They are supposed to be, the Numenorians are supposed to be these almost giants among men. They are the perfect example. They are the example of what humanity could have been and what it once was. That is why the elves speak of the fall of man, because they have diminished, the diminishment of man, that they are no longer that as epic as the Numenorians ever were. And this is not that. Look at this cheap ass fucking armor. Look at these fucking buffoons. This is supposed to be the guy who cuts the ring from Sauron's hand. And in that moment, Isildur, son of the king, took up his father's sword and cut the ring from Sauron's. Like, you don't get that vibe of epicness, and no amount of fucking seasons will make this fucking dope be that. Okay? And I want to highlight the armor and all this stuff because remember, all of you, I want you to remember this is a show with a $500 million budget. $500 million, okay? That is fucking big money here, okay? That is big fucking money. This is big. And every episode has had a $50 million production. Let that sink into your head. $50 million. Return of the King had a $94 million budget, and that was made 20 fucking years ago. And it blows this piece of shit with 5 times the budget out the water. 8 episodes. That means they've had 8 hours with $500 million, and they couldn't fucking scrape the bottom of the barrel. Return of the King had 3 hours. It was a movie, which means they have less time for like character development, all that stuff. Obviously, they've done it in Fellowship and then in Two Towers. And it had 1/5 of its fucking production budget. And Return of the King is a fucking masterpiece. This thing doesn't even fucking compare. It won't be the only time where I point out how cheap it feels, because I want to point out another scene soon enough. But you know, the Numenorians are heading over there. The villagers are setting up their defenses, and this is another scene here. I want to show you how this show wants to so desperately draw parallels to the superior Jackson trilogy. Okay, this is a line that Bronwyn says to her son, because he's like, "I'm scared. Can you tell me that thing that you used to tell me, Mom?" All right. And she says to him, I can't play any sound. She said, I have the closed captions, and I'll tell you what she says. He says, "Tell it to me now," because he's scared. He's scared. Realistically, honestly, yes, he should be terrified. There is a group of orcs coming to fucking murder every single one of you. He's scared. And he says, "Mom, you remember that thing that you used to tell me when I used to be scared of the dark and whatnot? Can you tell it to me now?" Which would have been a touching little scene if we gave a shit about this little shitling here and his shitling mom. But we don't. We don't. But she tells him this line, okay? Here we go. "In the end, this shadow is but a small and passing thing." Let me repeat that. In the end, this shadow is but a small and passing thing. Okay? Some of you may not remember that line. I have it up here. That is the fucking line, because when I heard it last night, I was like, dude, that sounded fucking familiar. And this morning I was rewatching. I was like, oh my God, they fucking stole Sam's line. They stole Sam's line from the fucking Two Towers when they're showing, and this I can at least play it fully, where Frodo has lost hope. You know, obviously he's carrying the ring. He's lost hope a few times, but he says, "So much bad had happened. We have victory. We have victory.
But in the end, it's only a passing thing.
Like you hit
this shadow, even darkness must."
This is like, that is what they were trying to give you. Okay? It's the same line that Sam talks to Frodo in the Two Towers. In the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Let me play it again so you can hear it again.
But in the end,
it's only a passing thing, this shadow. As opposed to what she says, in the end, this shadow is but a small thing. This show is like the Orcs of Morgoth. It's a failed and wicked imitation of a better work, not just Tolkien's work, but of the trilogy, of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And it's just a failed imitation at that. And we're gonna move forward. you know what's gonna happen. The villagers are setting up the defenses. The Numenorians are charging to get over there, and they have this fight, this village defense fight, right? Where, oh boy, okay. It just goes to further highlight how stupid Galadriel's training speech was when she was telling the Numenorians, don't rely on like brute strength to kill orcs. You know, that's what, and yet that's exactly what these fucking villagers are doing. Their untrained villagers somehow come off as better than the fucking Numenorians do. Like, there they go. What are they doing? They're charging with spears, right? They're charging with spears, and the orcs turn around, and later, and these are clearly orcs. They're clearly orcs. Later on, there's a reveal that some of the humans disguise them, some of the turned humans disguise themselves as orcs, but these are clearly fucking orcs. They're not fucking humans. These are the orcs. But they come in, right? That's just brute strength there, man. There's no fucking finesse. There's no fuck. And this lady is strong enough to take this orc's fucking axe with her shield and then shield bash him so this guy can get the kill with the spear. There's no fucking finesse there. It's just brute strength, okay? It's just, what? Jesus Christ, man. So what the fuck was the point of Galadriel or Carandriel's fucking training if was it just to show how fucking bad and how incompetent the Numenorians were? Was that what this is supposed to be? Just to show that? And here is the other scene. Here's the other scene that I wanted to talk about cheapness and scale. And that is another problem with this show. The lack of scale. Okay? So the Numenorians, again, they brought in their cavalry and their magic fucking ships. This show's scale feels so paltry. It feels so miniature. When you think of Lord of the Rings, when you think Lord of the Rings, you immediately think of epic fantasy. For fuck's sake, high fantasy is the genre that Tolkien created. He created that aspect of fantasy, you know, the high epic version with all these mythical creatures. And it's just so not living up to that standard. You know, Ron Howard, he created, not Ron Howard. Oh my God, who created Conan? Right, yeah, it was Robert Howard. Yes, Rob Howard. I'm sorry, I said Ron Howard. Rob Howard. He created Conan the Barbarian, and he created the sword and fantasy style of fantasy, that type of subgenre. And Tolkien created the epic high fantasy. So when people, and that epic high fantasy has inspired so much. It fucking basically has created Dungeons and Dragons and so many of the fantasy systems that you know, the elves and orcs and the dwarves that you know to this day in different settings, all basically come from Tolkien. That is the level of epic scale that you should think of when you think of Lord of the Rings, when you think of any of fucking Tolkien's works. The man fucking created a language, created languages, created cultures, created a fucking planet. Okay? That's why so many people were mad that these morons were inserting their own stuff when Tolkien already went to the work, the fucking process of creating this already. And yet you look at the Numenorian force. This is supposed to be the force that's supposed to save them. Okay? This is the force that's supposed to show up and save the fucking villagers. And look at this. I'm going to pause it. So we have one person here. I assume it's got to be Galadriel because Galadriel has to be the fastest. That looks like her. Right? That felt like maybe 100 something people. Maybe 100 fucking people there at best. Like, here's another shot. Here's a great shot right there. Dude. What is that maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to count every fucking single person, but that's like 5. That's maybe like 9. That's like a fucking, dude, that's like barely 100 fucking people. This is supposed to be the super cavalry that's charging in, which, by the way, again, super teleportation horses that must be bred in Numenor. This is just like when Daenerys showed up it all the way in the north where her fucking dragon, right? When Gendry ran from all the way past the wall, back to the wall, the Raven delivered a fucking letter, and the letter got to fucking Daenerys, and then Daenerys got back to the wall, and then beyond the wall, in time, in a night, to save them. Except at least that was Game of Thrones in season 7, or that was season 7, I believe, when the show had already hit rock bottom. This is only season 1 of this shit, and it's already that bad. This is only season 1 of this episode, and it's already that fucking bad. And look at this comparison. I want to compare it again to Return of the King, to a better Tolkien work. This is the scale of a fucking cavalry right here, okay? This is awe-inspiring. Look at these fucking costumes. Look at those horns blowing. Okay, that music. Look at this cavalry. This is what they want to be this so badly. Rings of Power. Rings of Power wants this. More than that, at the very minimum, they want you to at least associate this with that show. Okay? And it won't be, because it's garbage. Look at this. Look at this fucking cavalry charge. Look at this army. Thousands, because that's what a fucking army looks like. Thousands. Tens of thousands is what an army, not 500 fucking soldiers. Look at this cavalry charge and compare it to that pathetic showing from Rings of Power. And that's one of the best words to sum it up, is pathetic. That's what that show is. Pathetic. And I wanted to give a comparison to the two. So we're going to go back to the episode, and I'm skipping ahead, and you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, because this has been telegraphed. This has been so telegraphed. The orcs are going to get there. They're going to kill some of the villagers, and then the Numenorians are going to come save the day. They're here. They're going to save the day. They bring the dawn. They're bringing the dawn. They're bringing the rising of the sun and their forces, and then we get this ridiculous scene right here. Okay, look at this scene. This orc, right? This guy's bow ready. He's got the bow. He's like, I'm gonna shoot fucking Galadriel. I'm gonna be a hero because I'm gonna kill fucking Carandriel. Everyone's gonna cheer for me. They're gonna remember who I am, right? He shoots her, and she ducks. Well, she doesn't duck. She dodges, hangs off the side of the horse. Just like this. Look, she's still hanging off the side of the horse. Dude, what happens next was so bad that I actually, like, you see my eyes? Do you see my eyes? I want you to, hold on. Let me look at my eyes real quick. Look at my eyes. You see them? I actually had to put them back in this morning because I rolled my eyes so fucking hard that they left my skull. They rolled out of my skull. It was insane. I spent like 5 minutes looking for my fucking eyeballs because this scene is so fucking stupid that I just was like, look at this. Look. She chops this fucking orc almost in half from that angle with her leverage being like maybe 5 feet fucking tall. What the fuck? This is so stupid. I could imagine a piece of Shad's soul leaving him when he saw this. Because if I'm this angry, I could imagine a piece of his fucking soul just went whoop and disappeared because it's that bad. I just can't. I can't with this. This is, look at this again. Look at this again. Look at this again. Look at this again. It's just, they're fighting. These orcs are pathetic. The orcs are tough when they need to be, right? They're tough when they need to be. And then they're like goofy putty villains from Power Rangers when they don't have to be. Like, it's just never consistent. And he goes, whoop, misses. Oh, I'm hanging. Oh, wow. Shit is dumb, man. This shit is dumb. Anyway, oh my God. I just can't. I can't with this. I'm skipping ahead. I'm gonna skip. We skip. There's a battle. The Numenorians rout the orcs and they capture some of them, and they also capture Adar. Sorry about that. Sorry. We had to. There's gonna be a little quick cut there. The lawn guys came, and let me tell you, my dog was wilding. You thought I was mad? He was getting mad. He was really mad. So anyway, back to the review. Eventually, you know what's gonna happen. The orcs are routed. Adar is captured. And he's being interrogated by Carandrael, and she wants to know where Sauron is, okay? She wants to know. This is like, you know, she's Batman and he's the Joker, and he's like, where the fuck is she? Where's Harvey? Like, he wants to know. And he tells her, dude, I killed Sauron. I killed that motherfucker. He's dead. He's dead. He starts to explain some of Sauron's plan. Some of the fact that Sauron is not his full plan, but that he's trying to master something not of the flesh, but over the flesh. And he was experimenting with the orcs. He was experimenting with some of the orcs, and Adar says, I no longer wanted to sacrifice any of my children to him, to Sauron's machinations, and I want you to see what Galadriel says. I'm going to play a little bit of it, right? She tells him, no, your kind was a mistake. It was made in mockery. And to me, that's what, again, this is what this show is. This is what the comments, that comment meme about, was about. The fact that this show is very much like the orcs. Like, does it say it here? Does it say it here? Hold on. Yeah. It says it right here in the x-ray. Morgoth could not make real new things of his own. He could only corrupt and twist things that already exist. Orcs are merely mockeries of elves. And it's perfect because that's exactly what this show is. It's a mockery of an actual Tolkienian work. This doesn't reach it. And then she further goes and says, let me just hide the x-ray. She further tells him, and even if it takes me all of this age, I vow to eradicate every last one of you. I vow to eradicate every last one of you, but you, she tells him, you, Adar, shall be kept alive so that one day before I drive my dagger into your piked ear, before I drive my dagger into your poisoned heart, I will whisper into your piked ear that all of your offspring are dead and the scourge of your kind ends with you. Dude, she tells him that, and that is so. And then he tells her, he says, I would seem that I'm not the only elf alive. The only elf alive that has been transformed by darkness. And she does that stupid fucking lip quiver thing that they think is good acting. It's not. It's not. It's not. Look. Let me explain something. This is not a teenage Galadriel. This is not a young adult Galadriel. Elves come of age. Maybe I think it's like between 50 or 75 years to 100. By 100 years, they're already considered an adult. They've come of age. She has lived for millennia already. Maybe more. Maybe less. I don't know because the timeline in this show is so wonky. Okay? But this is not how the character acts. This is not how Galadriel would ever act. It is a pale imitation to the real Lady of Lorien, and this doesn't endear her to the viewer. Like I said, and get rid of that dumb lip quivering and her doing just fucking staring off into the distance. This is not acting. Anybody can do this. Hold on, let me bring it up close. Ready? Anybody could do this. Anyone could. Dude, get a... They are... I truly don't think there's any hope for this show. I don't think in 4 seasons it's going to get better. I don't. I'll say that right now. Prove me wrong. Try to prove me wrong, Rings of Power, but I don't think there's any hope for this show. Not this season, not 4 seasons from now. But this actress is horrendous. The work that they're giving her is bad too. No doubt. It's not her fault primarily, but she's not good. She's not particularly good. I haven't seen her in any other roles, but as Galadriel, she is just just insufferable, insufferable. And here's another, oh man, here's another fucking thing. Let me tell you. They skip forward to Halbrand and her having this heart to heart. And they are trying so badly to shoehorn romantic tension between not Sauron, bootleg Sauron, and bootleg Galadriel. They're absolutely trying to put in romantic tension there. And so that we can eventually get the idiots like those supposed super fans from the early marketing to be like, oh my God, Galadriel and Sauron are so in love and she has to save him and turn him back to good. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Sauron is not some bad boy that you're supposed to try to, redeem and save him and shit. It's just, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. Dude, I cannot with this show. I can't. And then we finally get to the end of this catastrophe of an episode, to an actual in-episode catastrophe, okay? So I glossed over some of what happened between Adar's capture, like Galadriel's chasing him and shit, but Adar eventually gets a hold of the hilt, the broken hilt, the MacGuffin, right? We found in the earlier episodes, we found out that MacGuffin is a key, okay? It's a key. And Adar takes it, the broken hilt is covered. It's like covered in cloth, right? He switched out before they capture him. He switched out. He made a version. He didn't make a version. Rather, he grabbed the hand axe. He grabbed an axe and covered that in cloth, and he carried that around as if that was the secret. That like he had that was the actual hilt. He gave the real one to this dude. And he tells him, I have a task for you. And this all happened. He says, I have a task for you. The next part happens off screen. While they thought, oh shit, we got Adar and we got the fucking thing. They find out it's not the real hilt. The real hilt is at the actual tower. And it's supposed to activate a key, or rather it's a key to activate something in the ruins of the tower. And what does this key do? Apparently, excuse me, it starts up this Rube Goldberg like machine. You know those fucking complex machines that like they'll start off with like a ball that rolls down and then it knocks off something and then that thing spins and it hits something over there and then knocks a bunch of dominoes and then this knocks a bird to go like that and then this, and it's all just to fucking pour you a cup of fucking orange juice. That's what this is. It's the key to one of those devices, okay? And it opens up this dam so that it releases a river down into the tunnels that the orcs fucking dug in the valley to activate and fucking kill me now, because this is I don't even want to fucking just take it off screen. This is what this activates. The river goes and it goes into a dormant fucking volcano and it sets off a fucking explosion. Okay, now can water hitting lava create an explosion? Absolutely. Fuck, Chernobyl showed us that. Okay, without a doubt, it can. Can it reactivate a dormant volcano? I don't fucking know. I am not a geologist. I will not pretend to attest that I know whether this is feasible or not. Okay, I don't. I would think it's going to need a lot more water than a little river. I would feel like that, but hey, the fucking volcano explodes, and so does my fucking patience with this show, because that this is supposed to be, or like the creation of Mount Doom, because this looks like Mount Doom, and it would be so on the nose for this show to be like, look at this land so lush, and now it has been despoiled by Sauron's force or Adar's forces, because now it's not even Melkor, because technically Melkor created Mount Doom in the First Age. But hey, volcanoes, right? Fucking volcanoes. And damn it, man. Look, I'm just gonna skip to, they all start seeing the fucking explosions, right? They all start seeing the explosions, and everybody's like, oh shit, let's get the fuck out of here. But not Galadriel. Not Galadriel. Galadriel doesn't run from this, okay? Galadriel doesn't run from a pyroclastic fucking flow, okay? Because she drank all of her fire resistance potions, guys. She drank all of them. She drank all of them. Either that or Amazon's like, look, we have fire resistant people too, like in House of the Dragons, dude. Not all Targaryens are fire resistant or fucking heat resistant, to be honest. Let alone a fucking pyroclastic flow. Do you know how fucking hot a pyroclastic flow can get? Listen, I love volcanoes. I love volcanoes. I'm not a geologist. I like volcanoes. They're cool, right? They're terrifying, but they're impressive. And I took a geology class. I remember I took an earth science class in college. And this guy was my teacher was so passionate. He was a great teacher. And he showed us things like he went to Antarctica, and then he showed us stuff of him in Hawaii, and he was talking about volcanoes. And I remember him talking about how hot a pyroclastic flow can be, okay? That it can reach like 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, dude. And I will always remember him being like, for those that don't understand how hot 2,000 degrees is, he said, it's about it's almost a third, a little, or rather, he said it was a little over a third of the surface of the sun. I always remember being like, holy shit, man, like that's fucking hot. That's fucking hot. And yet, for fuck's sake, like, look at this. Wait, let me bring it over here. Over the wall. The wall's not gonna do shit, man. You guys gotta fucking. There is volcanic fucking lightning crackling in this cloud. Okay? Volcanic fucking lightning, and Carandriel just sits there. She just sits there, and we're supposed to believe that she fucking survives that? And clearly Adar has escaped. He's not there anymore. He's like, bye, bitches. He's gone away. This thing is blowing doors. It's destroying structures. It's blowing in with such force. And we're led to believe that she's just going to sit there, close her fucking eyes, and tank this explosion. Because they need you to know she's a badass. And she's invulnerable to all damage. Okay? She's a paladin. She just popped a bubble. She had it available. And she's ready to go. She's ready to go. She's ready to go. Look. Dude, this is so fucking stupid. And that's how it ends. Whoop. She gets swallowed by the fucking pyroclastic flow. And if she died right here, I would say, good. This show is fantastic. I would go, all right, well, you know what? This show has suddenly become amazing. But she won't. She'll come out of that barely unfazed. Or rather, barely phased. Barely. I can see it. Look, there were no Harfoots in this episode. There were, thankfully. And yet somehow this show continued to misfire on all cylinders. The action was awful. The Numenorians and their magical ship and horses that break all sense of distance, awful. The dialogue continued to feel like it was written by a child who ate too much glue. Awful. This show, awful. Awful, awful, awful. This is fucking biblically bad. Remember I told you I wanted a scale of like, so this show is good. This show is awesome. This show blah, blah, blah. And then I would be like, man, this show is kind of meh. This show is bad. This show fucking sucks. This show is biblically bad. This show is that. You could have fucking made this show one of the plagues of Egypt, and I would fucking believe you. I would believe you. That's how fucking terrible it is. It's to say that it deserves to burn in a fire is too good for this show, because they need to take it, throw it in the same fucking volcano, and then take that volcano and throw that fucking volcano into the sun. I cannot take much more of this, and it's a relief that there are only 2 episodes left of this cataclysmic disaster. And what's good what's good is that we will still get some more House of the Dragon afterwards. So I will get this shit will end in 2 weeks. And then I get a little bit more of House of the Dragon to cleanse the palate. Because, whoa. And more of these media sites are realizing they can't defend this piece of shit because that's all this is. $1 billion pile of shit. The most expensive shit that's ever been taken in history. It's got that going for it. But man, I gotta tell you, Udun, Flame of Udun, just, wow, just what a disaster. I cannot tell you all enough to please avoid this show. Avoid it as if it was a pyroclastic flow coming down to burn you alive. Avoid it like that. I give this show 5 out of 5 pyroclastic flows coming to burn you alive in terms of awfulness. In the awful scale, it's a 5 out of 5 pyroclastic flows. That's what I'm giving it. This has been the NYC Geek. If you enjoyed this content, which I, wanted to give you a much more in-depth breakdown of the episode for you guys, please consider hitting that subscribe button because it would mean a lot. We are growing. I am so grateful to all of you for, we are actually really close to hitting our 1,000 subscriber mark. We're like, I think 1 or 2 subscribers away. It's fucking incredible. Thank you everybody for that. I truly appreciate it. And also, so while you're at it, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Be that 1,000 subscriber. I know it's a small thing in comparison to other channels, but it is a huge milestone for our channel. And I appreciate all of you sticking around. Hit that freaking like button, hit that share button. Keep it growing. And let me know. Leave me a comment down below. I do my absolute best to try to engage and chat with all of you. I love responding to every single comment. Even if people hate it or disagree with me, I still try to respond to comments. And we had so many comments on our last house, our last Rings of Power video, and it was great interacting with all of you. So please do leave something down below. Tell me if you saw it. What did you think? Did you also want to burn in a fire? Did you also want to? Because I do. I really do. Like, I can't fucking tell you how fucking mad I am. I'm so mad that there's gonna be cuts here where I had to stop because it was just, I was gonna fucking just punch something, and I didn't want to fucking punch my monitor or something, or I didn't want to fucking pull a summit. And if you haven't already, please make sure to follow me over on twitch.tv/TheNYCGeek, where I stream regularly on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesday, Thursdays, as well as follow me on that filthy cesspool. It's gonna be bad. Because I have to still put out the She-Hulk review. I wanted to put this one out before the She-Hulk review. I had gotten out of work too late for the She-Hulk review, but I'll probably try to see if I could put it maybe later, maybe tomorrow I'll put it out. But thank you for sharing your time with me. It is precious. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and I will see you guys next time. This show needs to burn in a fire. That's the only way to say it. It needs to fucking burn. It needs to burn in the sun.